Strings and characters. So, as we said before, strings are made up of characters. When we're actually building a string, we kind of build it with characters. It kind of happens beyond the hood. Don't worry about that for a little while. So, here's a comparison. It's an object versus a primitive, capital versus lower. Pair with dot equals. You can compare these with equals. That's because they're numbers, as we'll find out in a minute. Use double quotes on them to, make them versus single quotes for characters. Capital string, lowercase car, double quotes, single quotes. And, whoa, check out Keanu Reeves. Chars are actually numbers behind the hood. There's this thing called Unicode, there's this thing called ASCII, and basically everything's assigned a number. They have hexadecimal values too, which is where you count up to 16 as 1 by F, then go back to 20. Or 16 is F, rather. 0 to letters, then we have 10. Not too important. Just know that you can kind of convert these back and forth as a number. We also have escape sequences. So backslash behind a few characters will get you these. And we have the character class. That's the important part I want to talk about. I think I've linked that too. Let's take a peek. Okay, so CodeHS reference for documentation for characters is actually just underneath your string. And now we have the character and string version up here. Okay, so this is character. So this is all the different strange bytes and cars. We don't need to worry too much about these. What we're looking for are the methods we can use. In this case, we do character dot the method, and it takes in the character and returns something to us. We'll probably use value in a little bit just to experiment and get numbers back. There's booleans, which we want to use a lot. We were kind of looking for other ones, but we don't need to worry too much. We'll probably get told them on CodeHS. We have get name, which is the actual name of the character that you're using. To string. That's probably the most important one. We could take a character and convert it to a string, which we're going to have to do in order to join strings and characters together. Let's take a look at the character methods that we have. Oops, those are string methods, string examples. I wanted this one. Is uppercase, is lowercase, is digit. These are the ones that we're probably going to use the most. There's a lot of other methods that kind of bog you down here in the character reference sheet. So maybe the CodeH ones are better for us. There's very little. And look, this is how we use it. Capital character dot lowercase or dot method with our thing inside here. Okay, here are the assignments. Leave our documentation. Oops. There we are. Okay, so that's what we just showed. Don't worry too much about this. Again, Unit 4 will make a lot more sense when we get through characters. We have the is digit, which tells us if it's a number or not. And here's another list of them that we'll use. Probably the same as on the documentation page. Is digit, is letter or digit, it's lowercase. You kind of get the idea. This is if it's a blank character or not. And we can also convert it to lower and uppercase back and forth. Here's our example. I mean, we kind of get the idea. Cars are really numbers under the hood. You can run the car map on your computer to look at some of those and how you might type it. I don't have that window active, but it's really not too important. Let's just keep on going. Here, they also link an ASCII table for you, so you can open that and you get that picture. There's all sorts of weird ones. If you hold Alt and type these oct numbers, I think it's the oct numbers. No, it's the decimal numbers with a 0 before it, like a 3-letter code. You can type fancy characters on your keyboard. The one I only really know is 161 or 0161. And don't worry too much about these ASCII codes again. It's just fun to take a peek at. Let's keep on going through the examples. So, this \n is a new line. \t is a tab. Those are probably the most, or \quotes and \single quotes, apostrophes are important for writing strings in fancy ways, but otherwise it's not too important. Make sure to finish your homework in quotes. What does that mean? Character methods. We're going to use a couple for us. Character is uppercase, and we have a particular character already, and it tells us if it's uppercase or not. Let's look at the assignment. Is it an integer? I think this wants us to use the... Oh, wow. So we can use that. So what are we going to have to do to this string? Figure out if we have only characters in it. We're going to do a for loop. Then we're going to have to do an if statement to check. For will loop through the string in their common way. Here's our if statement. Now, does our string documentation have an example somewhere? If I had to loop through a string, that would be oh so convenient. No, unfortunately not. Well, we'll just have to type it for us, for ourselves. Or we could go copy from another place, but remember it's int I equals 0. I is less than the length. String.length, because that's the one we're passed. I++. And then we're going to check each character. If string.char at I we want to pass that. Okay, so we're going to take a character. So now we'll loop through each character. We'll pass it to a character variable, and then if ch, and we want to, this will return a boolean, right? Let's go check it on the documentation page. Is letter returns true or false, so it's a boolean. So we can just throw it right in there. Character, because we're doing character methods, dot is letter. And what character? Well, we could do is letter, right? That's what we had there, is letter. What's the problem with doing is letter, though? Think about it. What are digits? What are not digits and not letters? White space. So you could do is digit and letter, and then check, or you can use your negation. Negate is digit. So we'll only have an integer if it's a digit at first, right? Or if it's an integer in every single slot. So if it's not a digit there, now remember in class we discussed edge cases. We said, oh, this looks good. If we have any letters or anything that's not a number at all, we don't have a number or an integer. We could have a number if we have 2.5, but we don't want it. Errors, huh? Let's check our test cases. Legal start of expression on line 5. Oh, I didn't type my I. Now let's check them. I have a return statement. Oh, wait, return in the loop. We don't want to return the loop. Our edge case, an empty string. So if we loop through an empty string, nothing ever happens. So we need to say if string length 0, if it's 0, return false. Remember when I said you don't need spaces in Java? This will work. Ah, what a jokester. We didn't close the parenthesis. See, that's why you need to put spaces. It makes it easier to read. So why don't we be correct and put spaces? That's it for 3.5.